And we are live Sunday night with those guys, and Sunday night with those guys is sponsored by those
guys. Hey, we'll get it together. What's up? How are you? How are you, Tom? For those of you who don't know, that's Draymond Crawford, Mr. Recoveryone drone, way over on the West Coast. He's joining us tonight on the panel. Everyone knows Phantom Flight 101. You guys know me. What's up, Steven, from the Flyby guys? We will be getting one of the first interviews from them, Herman, from the Flyby guys. Remember, last we spoke to Steven, he had mentioned that they would be doing that drone delivery to the island over in Finland where he lives. Yes. And I just want him to come on and let us know how successful it was. He says there's a YouTube video coming, but I guess we'll have to all wait for that. But anyway, what's up, Tom? What's up, Draymond?
How are you guys doing this evening?
How are you guys? I mean, it's Sunday, 5:01. Right now, the East Coast is going through bits of a hurricane, but from where I live, I can actually look and see that the ocean has clouds and blue sky. Over land, it's still dull and gray. So I don't know what's going on, but they claim the hurricane was heading straight towards New England area, Providence, Rhode Island, all of that area where we were 3 weeks ago. As far as I know, a few people up there, all they've seemed to have gotten is a bunch of rain. Some of the pilots up there in New England and in Rhode Island were actually out on the coast catching the waves. So,
okay.
So, Draymond, where are you on the West Coast?
Here in San Bernardino, California, Tom. About 2 hours southwest of Vegas, where you were at a couple of months ago.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, but a lot of people don't know you're 107, correct?
Yes.
And you mind letting us know, or letting the people in the chat know what you do, what kind of work you do, if it's not confidential?
No, it's not confidential. I'm currently a national pollution elimination, discharge elimination inspector for the city of San Bernardino. And basically that comes out of the 1972 Clean Water Act signed by President Nixon. And I have my authority based upon that federal law. So my main job for the city of San Bernardino is go out there and oversee new construction, current reconstruction, any other type of development work that impacts stormwater issues, make sure they're in compliance with the general construction permit as far as erosion control, sediment issues on any type of a construction site, also inspections of warehouses, restaurants for their grease programs and things of that nature. So anything being built, rebuilt, ongoing operations in industrial areas and so forth, I'm called upon to do inspections along with our regular building inspectors and our off-site and on-site inspectors.
So, Draymond, how do you employ UAS into those job responsibilities?
Yeah, well, like I say, UAS is something that's coming more of a reliable tool in the construction industry itself. If it be new construction, existing infrastructure, and all these different things, because like anything else, there's a lot of work that we do requires a lot of manpower walking around sites, and using the UAS cuts that time down. So right. Just walk in one of these 1 million square foot warehouses and look at it, I can fly it in 15 minutes, up in the air,
and get a lot more value out of the data that you collect from it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I can map the GPS coordinates of where all the detention basins, all the catch basins are at, located on the property. So like I say, something that takes me over an hour plus to walk and document, I can fly it in 15 minutes or less and still document.
Right, and it's repeatable with success.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you,
so you're cutting a lot of costs.
Yes, definitely.
Well, for those of you who don't know Draymond or Recoveryone drones, I put his link in. I'll put his link randomly throughout the live stream tonight, and you can actually see some of the work that he does. And I'm glad to have you on here, because then I get to ask you. I see it in video, but I didn't know to what extent you carried on, what your duties were, etc. So now a lot of it make sense. Because I noticed one time you were showing an empty lot, and then
Mhm.
it was concreted over, and then they were starting to put up the first retainer walls or something
Right.
to that effect.
Right.
And you were doing some work there while they were doing it. Hey, Drone
Right.
Views Media. But
So Draymond, how were drones introduced on your job?
I introduced it. Just me.
So were you already an enthusiast and you were doing this?
Yeah, like I say, I came up after I left law enforcement back in the early 2000s. I got into construction. And like you say, you go into the business, you see what's going on, and you always got to stay, not always ahead of the curve, but at least stay with the curve as things evolve. And now we're starting to see these drone activities start occurring somewhere around 2014, 15, right around that age.
Yeah.
That's why I got my interest. My whole background, I had an older brother, passed away about 18 years ago now, and he was in RC planes. And this is when I was still in the military, in the Marine Corps. And I remember the Marine Corps was searching for people in 88. They were recruiting for RC enthusiasts, hobbyists back then,
Right.
which was the military was recruiting. Well, I didn't have any experience. I liked the ideal of it. Didn't know what the military was going to go with this or anything at all. But out in 93, right before I was supposed to go to Somalia, so left it alone. But I always asked my older brother questions about this and that. He told me about the servo motors and this and that. Back then you had the little small single piston engines and stuff. You had that little fuel mix. And I was like, the only thing I didn't like was you only get one chance, because you crash it, that was it. You know,
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn, start
Yeah.
from zero. And that's why I did not like.
Because we were using gasoline.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. You're using flammable fuel and
and highly doped wing surfaces. So all the combustibles all in the right place.
a lot of
it was
glue
always
on those
stunning. I would
parts.
say
Yeah.
it was
Glue
always
and
stunning. Yeah,
highly flammable.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, you only got one shot.
That's it. You got one shot. So
Yeah.
with that, I've always been interested. And then my brother introduced me to the flight sim on the old Commodore 64 computer way back in the day. And
Mhm.
so I
wow.
always
Groundbreaking.
had some kind of interest in this area. So when I started following drones, I was like, I can see this. I see them using it in construction work a little bit. So let me catch on here to see what's going on. And like I say, in my profession, we're required to acquire so many professional development units every other year to keep our qualifications. So I was starting to see these classes come out of these online university webinar classes and stuff, and they talk about drone use on construction sites. So I'm eating it all up, and I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do. So I took, back in 2019, I took about 2.5, maybe 3 months, start studying about the guides off of Amazon, the Airman Guide and another pilot guide back then. Took my time, studied up for about 3 months, took the 107 test, passed it, and I was practicing with back then. I think I
Thank
bought a
you,
Spark.
Dan, for the super chat. $5 super
a Spark
chat.
back then. I was testing things out with the Spark, and I said, I got to that Spark. I said, okay, I need something bigger, last a little longer. Went from the Spark to the Maverick Pro, which I still use to this day. I got several from Phantom 3s to Phantom 4s, and I have the Maverick 2 Pro and the Maverick Enterprise Advanced now in my inventory.
So on your job, what would you say the depth of acceptance is as far as others on the job seeing the value?
The contractors, developers I work with love it. They're, like I say, it's still growing. It's still growing. And right now here in Southern California, it is a commercial building boom for the last 8 years. So a lot of companies, either they're doing, right now, a lot of them do it either aftermarket. When the building's already done, they'll call a drone pod in here or somebody to take professional photos of it. So they promote it, sell the building or lease the building to whoever wants to occupy it for whatever the deal is. But a lot of them are learning now that this continuing documentation of your build saves them time, because every company is required to have a person like me on staff. We call them a qualified SWIP practitioner or qualified SWIP designer, QSP and QSD. So they're required company. So the difference is every company can't afford to have one on each job site, which is starting to become California law pretty soon, that someone has on a daily basis to monitor the activities on the site on a regular routine. The general construction permit, the GCP, says that you have to only can go a minimum of no more than 14 days between each inspection. So every other week, somebody has to go out there physically and inspect the site. For all
So you
everything from-
basically created a job within your job for your job.
job security.
Well, how many guys do you actually have that are actually doing it?
Right
Right.
here,
Just
in
you.
my city, that's I'm in. I'm the only guy. Like I said, has a couple
Good
of guys.
man,
that-
smart,
that-
smart man. Get
So-
every dollar.
so- Draymond, you're then, I would take it, since you're the only one in your agency that's
Mhm.
doing this, you're flying under Part 107. You don't have a COA.
yes,
So you're
I do have a-
you're
I do.
flying.
I have both. I got Part 107, and I went ahead and got a COA for myself because we have the San Diego International Airport airspace, which covers, I would say, about 85% of the city.
So you were able to get the unlock in
Yes.
place that you need. Good.
Yes.
Glad to
And, see,
hear that.
and the reason why I did that,
It's
because
sometimes
at
an
the time-
obstacle. Yeah.
At that time, we didn't have Lance. We just got Lance in the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
So-
don't worry.
get
It's
outta
New
here.
York, and
Your
we
area,
still have
your
airports
Yeah.
without Lance. Yeah, we
Right.
understand.
So like I
Yeah.
said, so I need to get that COA for me to be able to fly in that class. B
Absolutely.
airspace.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Drone Worship, for the $5 super chat. It says, I must admit, I shaved my goatee to perfection, feeling accomplished.
Okay, then.
He's going hairless. He's
Okay.
going
boy.
hairless.
But no, that's
Pretty boy,
good to hear,
yeah.
because the insight sometimes isn't there that the COA
Mm-hmm.
is a good route to go. It's just a lengthy process to endure. And as a
Right.
one-man operation, kudos, hats off.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say also, that the fact that you're doing this yourself, you created a job within a job for yourself.
Right.
That's headed in the right direction. You're doing everything right. And guess who they're going to go to or refer?
Well,
in time
actually,
for something
Well,
else
that's
comes up.
you're right.
That's
But I
the
was going to
thing
ask you,
now.
but now you'll be training other people to
Well,
do it, because
a good place to be is an SME, right? A subject matter expert. And
Right.
Right.
Draymond is positioned himself well here.
Well, like I said, I was looking at long term. I came up out of construction from the ground. I left law enforcement.
Right.
So being a shovel man on an asphalt crew, grading operator, I learned to work equipment. And my biggest asset for me, learning how to run equipment, was learning how to run a backhoe. Running a backhoe made me the pilot I am today. Because if you ever been on a backhoe, it's like working 3-dimensional. You got your hands
Hand-eye
working part of it,
coordination.
and
Yeah.
hand-eye coordination,
Yeah.
your feet working the pedals, and you learn how to do everything while you're looking at something else. Further down the road, as I was just telling Lawrence, for you got here, Tom, that I just got promoted to be the train officer for the city, especially Public Works. Now, what I do additionally
That's
now
good.
is like any project. Right now, we got several of the city parks getting new playground equipment being put in. So the engineers come and ask me, hey, can you get some shots for the playground pre-demo, during demolition, and reinstallation of the playground equipment? No
You're
problem.
using any mapping
Hey,
products?
Michael Blade.
Not for the city on my own. I use
Yeah.
mapping. I use the drone deploy. I use Pix 4D for
Right.
other outside work that I've done for other organizations. and
Since
so forth.
you're trying to get down and dirty, get those shots for them, and
Mhm.
I would take it they're not looking for the ultra high precision, lay down those ground elements at that early stage, but Pix 4D React is a cheaper way in the door, and actually the processing can be done locally on your laptop. It's not overly intensive like Pix 4D mapping is.
Right. And like I said, that's the long game. Like I said, a lot of these
Yeah.
folks are just getting the crumbs of what I'm feeding them on this, and they like what they see. And most it's all about, Tom, is politics. Because this way the engineers are able to go to the city council, and say, hey, look what we got. And these pictures
Right.
make them look good, makes everybody
Yeah.
do it all, and all that
You
kind
gain
of
the
what-
acceptance
and I
that
said,
way.
You see
Sure.
what Drone Worship
Right.
put in the chat?
Yeah.
It's
it's
So
basically the
Because
ground.
I don't
for
understand
something
the
bigger.
license.
Yeah, let
the
me address
107
that.
license. If
Okay,
you use
so-
my well,
go ahead, Lawrence.
well, he says, I don't understand the 107 license. If I use my computer to do freelance software design, why do I need a license? It's my
And I'll tell
personal
you.
property being used for work, just like my drone.
No, no. Okay, so here's the difference between your web
Hey,
design
Chris.
and what we're talking about here is national airspace. And that's the differentiator here. Now, when Draymond is flying inside factories and warehouses, he doesn't even require a 107. Okay. But when Draymond's operating outside in national airspace, to do the work he's doing, he needs either Part 107, which he has, or he needs a COA and operate under the agency's COA, which he has. So, you know, he's covering both ends that way. You know, I understand that we might find it overly restrictive to be regulated this way. But again, I just have to reiterate the fact that the FAA has kept our airspaces relatively hazard-free for the last 63 years. So I'm going to opt, you know, on the side of caution there. For that kind of work that Draymond's doing, correct me if I'm wrong, Draymond, you need that certification. You need that level of awareness and understanding how to operate safely, correct?
Right. Like I said, it's about safety. Like I said, a lot of times I'm construction sites. Now, I can't control every aspect of the construction site. A lot of times I fly on the weekends when nobody's there and everything, but sometimes I got to go out there and cover critical infrastructure stuff. Our opening, like I just did a quick orbit of a Starbucks the other day. They asked for their certificate of occupancy. I got to fly around that building or walk around that building, take pictures of the landscape, all the catch basins, all this kind. Like I said, it could take me, you know, several minutes, maybe 20 minutes to walk that small Starbucks. It took me a 2-minute orbit flight with my drone.
Right.
Got everything I need for my boss to sign his paperwork, for the land development people to sign off on their paperwork, said this property is good to go for occupancy. Done and deal. And the biggest thing is, I tell people in 107, no matter about the safety aspect of it and everything else, it's furtherance of a business. That's the key factor. I get
doesn't
paid.
matter whether it's your business or somebody else's.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, I get paid. People ask me, every time I fly, the city pays me 4 hours of OT.
Well, that's an extra special good deal, I say there.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, so that's equivalent of what I make in overtime. That's $200 every time I put that bird up.
Right.
Every time, no matter if I hour, I fly for 2 minutes, $200 in my pocket. So like I say, I got to stay in compliance, even for the financial aspect of it.
Well, see, I think there's more. What are you saying, Herman?
Go ahead.
No, there's more than one reason why I wanted to have you on here on the stream also, other than you explaining what you do, in case people do watch your videos and like, well, how come he does all of this pre-flight videos and these safety videos? And these are all things that you have to do before you even take your bird up in the air. A lot of the videos that you show, you know, the battery maintenance, the drone maintenance, etc., documentation of what drone you're using, everything down to, you know, the props being old or new. But the first story that we're getting into is related to what you do. And it says drone technology has reached new heights. Now, we all know drone tech has reached new heights, and because of the sensor and data analysis abilities that we have on drones, and in comparison to doing it from the ground, has jumped dramatically. Now, there are areas like you mentioned, infrastructure and construction that you're in, agriculture, what's the other one? Environment. And they all have their pluses, and they're all drone tech is being used in different ways. LiDAR, from LiDAR to regular 3D scanning of objects, buildings, etc. How long have you been doing this though? This is fairly new to you, or
I've been flying since 2019.
Okay. So
as far as the infrastructure and construction, what were you saying, Herman?
No, I was saying just like most of us he's still in that, within that same, we're all around the same amount of time we've been flying.
Well, if you think about it, right, you know, consumer drones have only been around. Remember, at one of our recent meets, I ran a trivia contest, right? So, you know, we have it right here that those commercial drones weren't even available to us until 2013.
Right.
So, the rotor stuff I was flying before then was RC based type rotor.
Mhm.
You know, so this is a relatively new field, and hats off to you, Draymond,
Yes.
for finding a very unique path to follow, and actually something now that sets up your city for success.
Right. You
Getting
know,
in front of those city council members with stuff that they want to see in their areas of that they represent must go a long way.
I know we got a lot of FPV people in the house, and Lawrence flies FPV, and you now, Tom, doing it. Jake Sloan just put out a video just about maybe an hour or two ago using his FPV and his Spire on a job in Chicago flying the railroad tracks. Now, the one part that caught my attention was he had railroad personnel. He even talks about a quick blip in the video. He had railroad safety personnel out there when he was doing this.
Okay.
And that's why, remember I put that video out about getting extra training?
Yes.
I say I have to get that certification every year. It has recertified every year. And it's a free class out here. It's a free class that the railroad puts on. They'll come out to your facility, whatever it is that you're operating with, and they'll put that class on. It's a test at the end. Pass the test. You get your little thing, helmet. You got to have it on the right side of your helmet so they know that you are safety track certified.
Right.
And that
Yeah, we
covers
have
all
the
of
same
Southern
thing here.
California. Right. I'm sure they get the same thing there in New York, all the subways and L rays and everything else you got going on around there. That, and I always tell people, I said, no, Jake Sloan went down there to film for a commercial deal, and I'm sure they gave him a track class. He's qualified to fly around the railroad tracks, above them, everything else. Now, he didn't show any footage of a train coming through, but they showed him diving down with the FPV, flying the track. It looks pretty awesome. So if you guys get a chance, check out that Jake Sloan video of him showing his record day of work and how he went from a railroad yard to a golf course and some other places using various different drones. He used the camera drone and used the FPV, and that's why I told Lawrence a while back that cinematography would be the saving grace for FPV. You can fly a drone, nice cinema moves with it. People are gonna love that because it gives you a different perspective. Like with a camera drone, it's a different look, different perspective.
Absolutely.
That people just eat it up and stuff. So I say, I would say for people to go check out that video by Jake and just see how he does his operation and the stuff he carries with him. He's got like 4 suitcases. He's going out packing into the car.
He can fill, I'm sure he can fill a van alone with just the equipment that he travels with. If you've seen some of the places that he's gone in the world to do shoots, and not to mention you need manpower to carry this stuff. If there's not a vehicle,
you need roadies.
It's getting that way.
A lot of friends.
Need a couple of roadies.
But I like the fact that you're in something, you're living proof that all it takes is determination, and the market is there. The market is there, and the market is getting bigger, and they are constantly looking for people to fill holes within companies, whether it be with a small company or whether it be freelance. There's a lot out there going on. Now, wait, what is, you said you're from San Bernardino?
Yeah, San Bernardino, California.
The city of San Bernardino.
The city of San
There's also a county.
Have you, is that where you from? Is it, you moved there from somewhere else? What?
I'm a military brat. My dad was in the military 20 years. I've lived in Oklahoma. I was born in Missouri, lived in Canada for a couple of years, and then right around the late 60s, 69.
Thank you for the super chat.
Came back out to California.
Drone worship.
And I've been here ever since about 3rd grade. Been out here in Fontana, California, which is 15 minutes away where I live now and stuff. So I'm pretty much a California kid. And I joined the military after I did a couple of years of college. The Marine Corps. I was stationed up there with a storm. They're just talking about the news about the last big storm in '85 coming up that far up the East Coast. I was stationed in Portsmouth Naval Shipyard when that storm came
when there was a Portsmouth Naval Shipyard.
Yeah, that's right. When there was a Portsmouth Naval Shipyard.
Yeah.
I was there part of the anti-terrorism unit back in that time when we used to travel up and down the East Coast doing between Naval Station Charleston, which is no longer around, and also the Naval Station up in Portsmouth.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you
Um,
know, the opportunities that exist in this field are ever expanding, right? I
Yep.
mean, finding new and useful ways to employ this type of technology gives me a bit of a rise, because there's always something new. You know, under every rock there's an opportunity, and it's what you make it. I mean, you know, like I said, Draymond, hats off, because you understood how to employ it and how to get value, and on a government job, that's what it is trying to bring value, and
Yeah.
getting some kind of FaceTime with the decision makers, and
Right.
getting in front of them, and promoting it. And it does raise the notch a bit as far as an effectiveness and efficiency level. You know, like you were talking about, it could take you 20 minutes to a half an hour to walk a site, but it's
Mhm.
not repeatable. You're gonna approach
Hey,
that site
Soil.
differently each and every time. Here we
Mhm.
have a technology that we can employ GPS down to centimeter resolution,
true.
and set up waypoints and go fly that site over and
Oh, shit.
over and
Over
over again,
Yes.
and ingest all those data points.
Mhm.
That's where the usefulness grows, right?
Right. Right.
Anybody who's ever gone near an Esri map will tell you that data points are the currency used in the GPS field.
And it's
So
funny you mentioned that company. They're right next door to us over in the city of Redlands.
Yeah.
Esri. That does all the
Esri.
maps for Google.
Esri's
they're right
the
here in
industry
Redlands, California.
standard. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much the, you know, GIS industry standard when it comes to enterprise level GIS.
Mhm.
We're all using Esri products.
Right.
But yeah, that's great to hear that the city is embracing it. You know, we're hearing a lot more of those success stories going around, because you know the cost to play isn't that high. You know,
No.
it's you're not really talking about, you know, see, the virtue that we have going for us, Draymond, is that our cities are self-indemnified. So you
Right.
don't have somebody looking over your shoulder going, oh, what's that going to cost me in an insurance premium
Mhm.
that he put up a drone. So as
Right.
long as you can get past the penny pinches,
Right.
the
Yeah.
ability to show value in something like
That
that.
is the biggest issue.
Yeah, well, that you can get ahead of that a lot quicker, because again, if you can do something that's repeatable, if you can do something that's reliable, okay, it goes a long way. It really does. So
And another aspect I like to tell people about drones, even cities and counties are getting, especially in Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico area, Texas, solar panels. And
Yeah.
other parts of the country is wind turbines. Well, if the city is owning that, somebody's got to inspect it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I say, either they're going to contract the work out to somebody, so you can be a contractor and offer this
Right.
service, or you work within the government agency and you can provide this as additional part of your assignments.
Right.
So like I say, different municipalities, either it be local, state, federal, whatever,
Mhm.
are needing these resources to at least
Absolutely.
do the maintenance and maintain these infrastructures that we put
look,
up.
the power companies themselves, okay, are seeing the
Yeah.
value. I have a friend that we set up in the Southwest that's all he does is solar panel inspections.
Right.
Normally, it would take a ground team 2 weeks to cover. I forget what it is now. I think something like 18,000 articulating panels. You know, it would take a couple of weeks,
Right.
and he can fly a series of missions across a 4-hour period, basically,
Right.
that collects all that data, gets uploaded through Pix4D, through the
Yeah.
thermals, gets everything packaged that goes up to the power companies.
I was going
And
to
they're
ask, is
basically
he
looking
doing
for like
3D
cold
imaging,
shunts.
Tom?
Hmm?
I was going to ask, was he doing 3D imaging while doing
No, he doesn't
that?
need. Look. I can't tell you how many opportunities
Oh no,
there are in
what I mean is,
this
I
drone
know.
market, because he doesn't have to do anything, Lawrence. This is one. He's got to fly his mission, right? He's got
Mhm.
waypoints established that are in the
Already.
can. He puts
Okay.
the bird up from the same LZ marker. He puts it up. It flies the mission. It comes back. He changes batteries. It picks up where it left off.
Right.
He goes
Okay.
through a series of
Mhm.
8 battery changes. Okay. Takes all that data, uploads it to the server. That's the longest amount of time it takes. Okay. He's got a gigabit connection, but still takes him some time to upload that data. He's hands off. Next thing he knows is he gets an errata sheet that gives him specific panel numbers. He punches that into the software, and then the drone takes off and only flies those panels. Now, that's usually a week after they ingest the data, because those are the panels they just went out and did maintenance on as a result of his data set that he gave them. Now they want to make sure that those panels are now operating to the same efficiency level as the surrounding panels. And
Okay.
so he does this twice a month. That's it.
Right, that'll be a pattern
Okay.
for a
Yeah.
And he gets
that
a
type of
payday.
operation, yeah.
He basically gets a monthly payroll that way. So
And that's the reason why I went out and bought the Enterprise Advanced for operation. Yes. I mean, I was
well,
on the fence.
that's a great thermal camera. I mean, that's
Yeah.
they upped the resolution on that camera.
Right.
That really is a commercial level thermal imaging camera now. Just think about all the mom and pops who have bought their solar panels over the years and now own them as a result of
Right.
their lease out deals. And
Yep.
now mom and pop want to figure out whether those panels are, they're not seeing the same results on their
Same output, yeah.
right, on their power management. So what's going on there? You can
They
fly a
need to be
neighborhood.
replaced. Right.
You can fly a neighborhood and come up with a report and knock on doors. I mean, the proverbial knock on door, but the circular that, hey, if you want to see a picture of the neighborhood, click here and we'll show you your house.
Right.
So
as you talk about the time, I got 32 panels in my house. I've had my panels going on 10 years now, and I just had one of my inverters changed out. Now, the company did mine was the old Solar City, which is owned by Tesla now.
Yeah.
They came out and had to change the inverter because, like I say, it wasn't for my knowledge in the industry, I would not have known that I was not getting the output I should have been getting. I'm checking the app. I'm like, something's not adding up here. I call them up, but Tesla has the worst customer service ever and stuff. You're better off panning. You're better off panning for gold.
He's busy flying rockets, bro.
Right?
It's that bad, huh?
Yeah, it's bad.
He's digging holes and flying rockets.
I've heard that,
I found a backdoor phone number to call directly because you go through the email system with them. It's like you never get a response. And even then, I had to go out there and take a picture of my inverter on them, the error code that it was coming up with. So I'm telling them, I said, reading this on your server end? Because I have a little device in my house connected to my internet, says, hey, it's reading it. I said, you guys should be able to see this and that it's not producing what it should be.
Right.
And they're like, oh, thank you, Mr. Letting us know. I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be letting me know. You're monitoring my system. And I'm the one telling you got a problem.
Did they see it after you brought it to their attention?
No. Hey, they sent a technician out to see what it is. The first time the guy came out, he said it happened to click on that day. He said, "Oh, I can't see." As they always say, can't reproduce the problem.
You go into the doctor and you no longer have the pain, right? Until you leave the doctor's office, then you get the pain again.
A week later, Herman, same code came up. I'm like, error code. And I sent a picture to him, and lucky they had it in their file, and I had that number still to call them directly. And they said, okay, Mr. Crawford, we're going to send a tech out. When he came out, it still showed that error code. Now, this was the kicker was, because my equipment was so old, they had to wait 3 weeks to get an inverter to come in to match up with my system. I told them, I said, this is with the new ones. And they said, well, we have to wait for a compatible inverter to match it with your system.
Well, it's convenient that it's not compatible, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because so why upgrade you on their
But has the tech changed much? I mean, other than battery consumption and battery conservation in comparison of you first getting your system to today? I mean, I've never actually one with a solar panel.
Lawrence, I would like to say yes, but I really can't verify because, like I say, I've heard that the panel technologies, they're more efficient.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a higher level of
yeah, I could-
efficiency in the
right.
crystalline now.
which
Yeah,
which is natural, just like our phone batteries. Over the years, the phone
Everything gets
batteries have
better.
got more efficient. So
Right.
I wouldn't
Right.
doubt that claim. But for me to have something compared to, I have nothing compared to. I have what
yeah.
I
You
have.
you can get more density per cell now over the older stuff or legacy stuff. But again, remember something, Lawrence. Draymond's out where there's about 300 days of sunshine. So,
Yeah.
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 it counts.
It's
Right
true.
now,
Yeah.
we're getting nothing but a window washing on our solar panels here for the last how many weeks, right? They only wish they
Yeah,
had
this
the
is
rain we
true.
have here right now.
These
Yeah,
last
it started raining here last night and hasn't stopped since about 7 p.m. So
Sure it did. Stopped for
I'll
a
put
couple
like
of
this.
seconds and it got heavier.
The last 4 days, have been the only days this summer below 100 degrees where I live since
Right.
damn.
in the
Right.
June. We have been
Yeah.
100 degrees plus every
Yeah, tell
day.
him, Draymond, it's
So
a
this-
dry heat. It makes all the
Yeah,
difference. Tell him. Go ahead,
it's
tell
only
him.
dry heat.
Dry
It's
heat.
only dry heat. That's all it is dry heat.
Listen.
By the way,
Lucky
guys,
and
that's
lucky I parked my car under the garage at work, so it never gets too hot.
yeah. Well, guys, there's 3 different levels of parking there. Okay, out in the hot sun, under a shade, or indoors. There's only one that counts. You know that, right? Okay. And that's why if like in Vegas, if you're gonna go to the casino and drop a few bucks, pay the valet to sweat his way to your car. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, park it inside.
Park it.
Man,
Yeah, park it inside.
Park it
Park
inside.
it inside. Yeah, 'cause-
Have the
Please.
auto
Well-
start is your friend.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Definitely.
I got a story I want to get into, and then we can kind of like BS around and
And
go
then I got
scroll.
today. I got a good tool tip too. So yeah, let's go into the story.
Okay, cool. Because I'm saving the best for last, and the best is those of you sort of title of the stream, the UAE. Well, it has nothing to do with UAV and stuff like that. It's completely different. It's off the chart, but it has to do with drones and you'll when we get to it, I'll go in more into detail. But I thought this story was kind of interesting because there's a company called Mission Go who has teamed up with the Living Legacy Foundation. Now, those of you who don't know who the Living Legacy Foundation are, this is a volunteer organization that they supply body organs, tissues, blood, stuff like that to be delivered. And what's strange about this is they claim that about every year, 20 lives are lost or more in each state due to not being able to get body parts and blood and stuff like that delivered. And we know we've been doing stories on Zipline. Well, this is the closest that any delivery of blood and or organs has come to New York. Right now in Maryland, this company, I can't keep thinking of the name, the company Mission Go has teamed up with Living Life Legacy, and they're using their Mission Go drones to actually deliver blood, organs, and parts like that. And they're talking about how efficient it is in comparison to driving, which we already know, but now they're doing it in as far north as Maryland. If you remember, we were doing stories on some drone deliveries down in the South and North Carolina and Virginia, all of those states down there. Well, now in Maryland, they're doing the same thing. Hey, cool, Vic, what's up? How are you? And I thought it was an interesting story because I actually have a video. Since I'm already going to get a copyright strike, they've been hitting me hard. And I found out why, but I'll go into that at another time. But I found a video of the actual drone and the package that they use to deliver organs, parts, multiple, whatever they need to these hospitals. But what I find interesting is this guy, not only does he have a visual observer, which is supposed to have as a 107 pilot, but they're using the telemetry from a system that's set up across a desk, sort of like a, how would you say, like a control center?
Pilot, co-pilot.
Right, pilot, co-pilot, control center. And This is an actual run. This is one of the actual practice runs that they're making. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see the little red bucket container, but this is a helicopter class drone. It's not fully autonomous. Someone does need to fly it. And it basically, this is what they're looking at right here. Okay, they're looking at all maps. They're looking at it in real time, and they're actually following a flight path. He's just making sure the drone gets to where it's going, basically. I believe they're doing it via waypoints, but eventually, I'm guessing this will also be autonomous, and they'll be able to launch them and just have a pilot sitting back and making sure that the telemetry says it's not descending when it's not supposed to, and stuff like that. As you see, it looks like a little mini helicopter, but this is becoming more and more common as the drone world / society gets more advanced.
Well, Lawrence, we started with we started talking about this from when Dr. Gwen over in WakeMed got together with UPS and Matternet and started that with sending blood samples and tissues and stuff like that. We also did another story on another organization that was an organ procurement organization. And now you have this Living Legacy Foundation, which is an organ procurement organization.
They're one of the largest here in the
trying
States as well.
to get these things done a little quicker than man moving by couriers on foot and having to deal with traffic and stuff like that. Drones, we all talked about before. Drones can fly straight
Explicit,
and I have to deal with traffic, that type of traffic itself. But what do you say?
Realize we have some very large medical campuses here in the local area, both here and on Long Island and up in Westchester County Medical Center, right? Long Island Jewish Medical Center, Northwell.
Really big. Northwell is
even,
really big. It's a whole
there's
campus.
testing going on. And by the way, just a little bit of inside info. There are grants being written to do some of those similar things here in the New York City area. It's already, the value proposition's already there. It's already there. Okay. Delivery of life-saving product, whether it be, like you said, blood products or pharmaceuticals, getting somebody insulin quickly in an area. I mean, this country is huge. And we take it for granted that everybody's got like easy access to the CVS or the Walgreens or Duane Reade on the corner. And not necessarily the case across this country.
This is true, because this Living Life Legacy, Tom, they are the people that if someone dies and a person has donated their eyes, they're the people that actually go in and collect they don't collect them, but they transport the eyes.
It's just that they facilitate the transplant of human organs.
Right.
And So, this is important too, because transplant is a critical operation, and, getting somebody something in a timely manner can make all the difference, whether it's accepted or rejected. And look, the value proposition is there. The drones are here. Look, Stephen, Flyby Guys, right? He was just doing that test with the pharmaceuticals. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Delivering the pharmaceutical medicine to an island where it takes hours to get there.
Exactly, but not as the crow flies. Right? Not as the crow flies. And that's what we're talking about. We have our own crow here. Let's use it. It's smart enough to do the job at hand. And again, as it continues to evolve, we'll start to take for granted its capabilities. But right now, we're being wowed by them. We just got to keep up that wow factor long enough that we gain the acceptance at the public level.
Well, I think it's going to go far. Look at what Draymond's doing in California.
Right.
That is swept across the country like a wave.
Well, it's that first story you talked about, right? The verticals. You have, look at the industry. You have different verticals set up here. Agriculture, environment, public safety, and industry and commerce, power. I mean, and that's What about real estate? What about boat sales? What about, hey, I'm buying a drifter that a rice burner that's $120,000. Maybe I want to actually see it drifting. Okay. Before I plop down the money, things like that. I found it funny when I first started doing, as a side gig, a moneymaker was shooting watercraft that was for sale. And then learning that, well, the prospective buyer or the informed prospective buyer wants to see the wake behind the vessel.
Yeah.
Because they want to know that it's planing correctly in the water. They wanted to see it pulling away from the dock and pulling into the dock, because they wanted to see that the current owner had the skill set not to bash into everything on the way in or out.
Yeah, that
Right?
too.
So,
How many times you been on
you
the Staten
start.
Island ferry?
Where do you get that? Where can you put that all together and package it for a prospective buyer? As far as I know, it's with drones is the only way to do something like that, right? Or I got to rent a helicopter, and by the time I get done, the cost for production and all outweighed probably the cost of the watercraft that was for sale.
Right. I always
Now
think
you
it's a
had a
combination of
story.
all of it.
You had a story, Lawrence, about Emirates Air.
Yeah, that's
You got to
really impressive. But before I go into the story, before we go squirrel, I want to give you some facts. The name of this building is the Burj Khalifa. Now, it holds several world records. It's not going to be beat for a while. It's the first building that is taller than a mile. Okay, here are some of the world records. At over 828 meters, which is 2,716 and a half feet, and more than 100 stories, the Burj Khalifa holds the following records in the world: the world's tallest building, the tallest freestanding structure, the highest number of stories in the world, the highest occupied floor in the world, the highest outdoor observation deck in the world, and an elevator system with the longest travel distance in the world. Huh?
So basically, you cannot see the street from the top of that building.
No, you cannot. This is the actual building here. I'm going to pull up a picture real quick, and then I go into the video and the story. But Emirates, what is it? UAE, United Arab Emirates.
Right.
Is one of the most
wait a second.
luxurious.
UAE is where this is okay, and it was Emirates Airline
that did the commercial on top of this
commercial that went viral, and so Lawrence will put that link.
Oh no, I'm going to show it. It's
Facebook
seconds. I already know I'm going into the copyright.
I'll save my comment after you show the commercial.
Okay, well, I just want to say one thing. It took them, I want to point out, let me just get this off screen and pull up the video, but it took them an hour and a half to climb from the very top of the building to the spire. Now, but let's see if I can pull that up. I did have a picture of the spire. If not, to hell with it. We're going to go with this video. I'm going to play the video and then just stop it. But it's a 33-second video. I give full credit to UAE, Emirates Airline, and whoever else was down with the commercial, okay? Because I know you guys are going to hit me with a copyright strike, but this is the 33-second commercial, the world's tallest building. And I have a link to show how it was made, okay? And this is more impressive than anything I've seen so far. As far as
gone
drone
viral,
commercial,
and it's getting them a lot lot of play. That's for sure. So the reason they made
this is why right
here.
I'm going to pause it for a second, okay, right here, because if you see where my mouse is, this is the top floor. They had to climb out from this top floor here and climb this with hooks and anchors, and it was about 2 or 3 people that actually did it. Okay.
And by the way, she's not true. She's an actress,
she's not
actually, stunt woman.
Yeah, well, she's a professional climber.
Yeah, she's a stunt woman, and she, is playing the part of an Emirates aircrew member.
Right.
Well,
Cabin
she
crew member.
said, but well,
They said there's no
Yeah, she
special
said it was-
effects.
Yeah.
and
yes, there's
green
no
screen.
green screen. This
No
is the
green
actual
screen.
photo with
Yeah.
a drone.
We
sped
call
up
we
and
what
hyperlapse.
guys? Come on, that's an action shot, bro. That's a droney. Come on.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it
that's a
is. Yes,
droney.
it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Now-
supposedly to promote quarantine-free, travel.
Yeah, between
So-
the UK and the
Yeah,
UAE.
Did they
Yeah.
sticker? Hey, Mike flies on drone. Did they sticker with Gorilla Glue? No. But what they did do, every step of the way to the top, she was anchored down.
Don't
The
give
actual
it. Come on,
article
watch
that
the
I
behind the
have here,
scenes. Stop giving away the good parts.
well, they got to figure out themselves. But right now, this is one of the most viral commercials out there.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
really getting
thought
them some good traction.
done
UAE.
Really,
Emirates.
really well. They've already gotten 45,528 likes on their Instagram just from the commercial alone. Now, keep in mind, those of you who don't know, Emirates is one of the most expensive, exclusive.
Go watch
how would I
Casey
say-
Neistat's trip aboard
If you can
Emirates.
afford
Okay.
to fly Emirates, you ain't got to worry about quarantine.
Yeah.
You are quarantined. by the
business-
Yeah,
price
this
of
is
your
true.
Yeah,
seat.
yeah.
This is true. Yes.
Ain't that many
Yes,
folks
this is-
flying
that's
on there.
very, very true.
Yeah. Business class from the UK to the UAE would allow both me and Draymond to fly back and forth between LA and New York, and Draymond getting picked up in a limo at least
Right.
3 or 4 times. Okay. So look, good use of drone media, huh? Much cheaper
Good
than
use of
a
drone
helicopter.
media, man, is an
And-
understatement.
Right.
It's a great video because how are you going to top that?
Buying a ticket?
They're hoping.
That's what,
Okay.
yeah,
They're
that's what
hoping.
they're
For the
hoping.
price of the ticket, Herman, you could buy the drone.
That's true because the drone that they use at altitude, I'm sure wasn't your standard consumer version drone.
I bet
To be
you'd
able
be
to handle
surprised.
those wind, to be able to handle those winds up that high.
It wasn't that windy.
You
Well,
told
check
everybody
us, Scott.
why it to
Did
be
it
all
at
right.
daybreak.
Yeah,
Check
you
us
have the
off.
heat. You have the heat rising off the ground.
Yeah, I think they planned for the sandstorm well in advance, though. Okay. Now that would have been a commercial, huh? Then all of a sudden she gets wiped off the top by a
The
sandstorm.
drone video.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have let us
Media
stand up
says he
there, Lawrence,
flies
if
them.
the wind was that bad.
No, they're relatively low winds if you saw that. So
Drone Views
Well,
Media
that's what
says
I'm
he
saying.
flies them to the Philippines, but certainly not business class.
no. They have multiple class, and they are one of the major airlines flying some major routes across the
Well,
European, Middle East,
Also
and
in this
Asian
story, they
continent.
wanted to point out in this story also that they are joining something called the Amber Line. Now, the Amber Line will fly you from Dubai to the UK around the clock.
Yeah,
So
but
they're
it's
also-
also, I mean, the big deal here is that they're now not requiring. Remember, up until this commercial came out,
Yes.
if you traveled from Dubai or the UAE to the UK, you had to quarantine for 10 days.
Yes,
So
yes,
whatever
yes.
reason you were there for, tack on an additional 10 days. Now that's a pretty
Okay.
costly proposition. So
Right.
Emirates was just cleared as part of the Amber Line, allowing passengers to clear immediately into the UK. So they were trying to get the word out there, and they did it. They did it.
Listen, I give them a hand. I salute them for what they did. It's a spectacular view. It's one of the best dronies I've ever seen. I have never seen anything up that high.
Come on, man. You
Legal.
didn't see my drone
Legal.
from Flushing Meadows Park? Come on.
Well,
Okay.
the big thing about
Raymond,
that, Lawrence,
Raymond,
is-
you see what I got to deal with here?
I know, but the big thing about that shot makes it more impressive is that the fact it would have been done
Hey,
probably
How
safer
are you?
with a helicopter with a long range lens and be able to get the same effect. But someone,
But
who
you
was
wouldn't have-
in a- wanted that shot with a drone.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. I think you could have come close to recreating that same shot, but the arc in which that drone flew That
Right.
would have been the more difficult thing to do with the helicopter, because remember, any photographers out there, when you zoom in a lens, you have to increase your shutter speed, because now you have more motion you're introducing into that camera.
Motion blur.
Okay.
Here's that video again. So if you want to see it with the music and I suggest you watch it, because
Yeah,
I
watch it and
fly
watch
a-
the behind the scenes. That's where you
But-
learn a
but
lot from.
Tom,
Yeah.
can you maybe you'll agree with me on this, but watching the video, if you've seen it for the first time, now flying FPV, you get views like that, but to be that high up, your battery will probably
Well, you're
burn
half a
out
mile up, right?
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
half a mile up. So here, one thing we got to say is the FAA had nothing to say in this matter. Okay.
This is true.
You know, for me to get shots up that high, I have to then hike 1,100 feet, right? Let's do the math. A little less than
Mhm.
1,100 feet, because I only got 1,640 to work with here. So you
Right.
do the math in reverse, right? So that's, you know, that if you don't mind me, that
That's
leads
good,
into my
Big Matt.
tooltip. Okay.
Go for
Uh,
it, man.
And
I
So-
did
and
have
so-
sound
and
effects,
Tom,
but none of the
how
damn
we know
things
that
work.
the operator was not on an adjacent building
or
this
in
is,
a helicopter,
high. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
in a helicopter, right?
Exactly. And I'm
So-
pretty sure it took time. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I don't
Steve.
think it was a single take.
No,
but,
no, I don't think
you know,
so either.
She kept on checking the. She kept on checking the cheats on the back of those cards to make sure she didn't get them out of order. Okay, or slip. You know,
Oh,
if those
yeah,
slip
you
out
do-
of your
you do
hand, what do
see-
you do?
I could-
You do see that.
I could almost guarantee you that she did not have a mistake with the order of those cards.
She had sticky fingers too, because one of those cards. You know, that's another reason why it wasn't too windy up there. Okay, I would almost guarantee that they started their ascent and it was still dark out, just like
Oh,
flying
yeah.
hot air
I
balloons.
could believe
or,
that. I could.
you know,
Well, they said
You
it
go
took.
up.
It,
You
they
go up
said it
at
took
dark.
over
You
an
go up
hour.
at dawn. You know, and wait for
Mhm.
the sun to break. Plus, you know, it helps on the lighting too.
And for
Okay.
those of you who did not see it, I'm going to play it one more time. I just have to cue it back up because I have a bad habit of closing windows after I
Yeah,
think I don't need them anymore.
Deleting and-
Yeah, Herman, I tell you, you think I
Yeah,
work
none
for
of
the
us really
government the
wants
way
to
I
see
delete
your
stuff.
inclination to porn. So
You hear?
keep that in
You
mystery.
think I'd work for the government the way I delete stuff, but this is the most viral commercial out there. If you haven't seen it, I want to see somebody top this one. Okay.
Now she got a little wind there.
and
Watch the scarf. See the scarf? A little
Yep.
bit of wind fluttering
Now
there.
they
but,
are on top of the world. Any higher than this, and you have to put on a spacesuit.
stop.
I just
I'm just
appreciate
playing, man.
her
But look
her
at this view.
concentration
The
alone.
view is beautiful, though. That's a beautiful freaking view, man. A building over a half mile high.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Yeah.
It just lets you know what could be done with a little bit of money.
Look,
A little bit.
okay, but imagine the amount that they saved there too.
Yes,
Okay.
not using helicopters, jet
Yep.
fuel. I'm sure they had to clear airspace in that area.
Oh
But-
yeah, absolutely.
Right. But the fact that's a paper cutter.
Well, you also have
want
to get
avoid
you have
from
to
one
get
of those
permission
cards.
to photograph that building, right?
You see what Stevie put? That's a
That's
paper
way
cut
up
you'd
there.
want to avoid if one of those cards came flying down.
That's what I said earlier, Stevie. She had stickum on her fingers. Okay.
Yeah, you better.
Make sure imagine one of those gets ripped out. Well, so okay.
You know, goes towards
Hey,
the
Tom.
highway.
Third Eye says he has 5 of those shirts from over the years.
Oh, he's
From
talking
Bill-
about on the back of the shirt. It's an insurance ad, by the way. You know, a PPA, a Professional Photographers of America.
Hey, Leonard, how are you, man?
Hill
Welcome
and
to-
Usher is their insurance
Okay.
underwriter.
I like
So,
the
yeah.
hat, Tom.
Yeah.
So
Well,
recovery
the hat,
one.
you finally noticed.
No, I
AMA.
saw it the whole time you were wearing it.
AMA. You know, we got to represent. I remember AMA when they treated us like shit. Now AMA is kissing up to our asses, right? Because we're keeping them alive. So
Okay.
Draymond,
Yes,
do you
sir.
plan on coming to the East Coast anytime
I
soon?
making a trip out there next summer. My wife has a family reunion in the Jersey area, and we're going to rent a car and make some rounds to Philly, down to DC, and we may slide over to New York just to see what's going on.
Light on
That's
by.
what I was hinting at. You need to slide on through here, yo.
Yeah, yeah.
And don't
plan
worry,
on
we
making a trip
represent
to
down in
Texas,
Philly too.
We'll be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll give you the spots to
Now-
stop
now-
and eat at too.
Oh,
like I said,
yeah.
now I have some folks to visit because I don't have any family on the East Coast. My wife has a few in the Philly area.
Listen.
You got a
do
whole
know
drone
what you do?
community,
folks.
dude.
You know what you
Yeah.
do, Draymond? What you do, you work a few extra hours before you go on vacation. And when you get to the East Coast, you give your wife an envelope with a few dollars in it. And you say, I'll be right back in a couple of hours. And you go get your fly on, she go get her shop on, and you can come hang out with the boys. I'm sure she wouldn't mind then.
No, Lawrence, I've been married 38 years. I'm the chauffeur now.
Oh,
I
I know.
I'm the driving Miss Daisy now.
I know the feeling, man.
We live it, bro. We
I
live
know
it.
that. If Ron Classic says, hey, what's up? He's here in New York with us too.
Yeah.
Philly in the building. What's up, Fly Guy
Yeah.
Merle? Welcome back.
Simple
Leonard,
Pride
welcome to the stream. Everyone that is here, welcome to Sunday Nights with those guys at 6:01 Eastern Standard Time here in New York City. And I did all of the drone news, so I guess we can kind of go squirrel or
Well, I got the
whatever you
tooltips
guys-
I still want to hit if possible.
Well, see, you know what's messed up, Tom? I went and I set up this sound. I still don't have it working. And you can only hear it through my damn mic, man, which is pissing me off. I even gave you your own news tone. I was supposed to go, it's time for Tom's tips, and then press the button, and you would hear a tone play, and then you'd go into your Tom's tips. But I got to get back to YouTube to figure it out, dude.
Practice makes perfect. That's
Listen,
all.
I'll
Practice
get it. I'll
makes
get it
perfect.
soon. I'll get it
That's
soon.
all.
So,
No sweat.
hey, Paul Murray,
No
how are you?
sweat.
He's about to build a drone.
So what
Paul Murray.
what I want to
Murray.
talk to you is
Hold
about.
on, Tom.
Go ahead.
Tom. Let me correct something here. Paul Murray puts just information. Mount Everest is the tallest structure on the earth. Emirates has their advertisement on top of the tallest man-made structure in the world. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's all.
Well,
we weren't
Paul's
talking
so
about the
old,
tallest
he
structure.
forgets what man-made is. Okay. So
Go
that's
ahead,
old
Tom.
guy
I'm sorry.
humor. Okay, that's old guy humor. Okay, guys, what I wanted to talk to you today about was some photography tips. And one of the things I wanted to mention was changing your vantage point to add interest. So advantage drone pilots, because you're bringing a new vantage point to images, right? We don't always, when you shoot a mountain and you shoot it down from the road, we've all seen the mountain from the road. When you shoot a flower and you shoot it from above, we've all looked down at flowers. That's not how you bring a unique view. Look for your vantage points to introduce a unique view that people haven't seen. And like I said, when I started this was Advantage Drone Pilot, because you already have that unique point of view. Use it to that advantage. And one good way to use it to that advantage is show something the way it hasn't been seen normally before. And one of the ways that you can easily do that is to turn around and introduce it. Guys, tell me if you're seeing the image. To introduce like a top down.
Yep.
Okay. A top down image is something that isn't normally seen. Now, there's a couple of sites we have up on Facebook that we run a hashtag TDT or Top Down Tuesdays, okay, where we throw one of our favorite top down images. But a top down image is giving someone a different way of looking at it. So it builds an interest. Now, another one for landscapes, okay, including aerials, is you need to have a subject. Okay.
Mhm.
What is your subject? Now, in this shot, my subject was the church. Okay. And I found a unique vantage point to shoot it from, to show that all roads led to the church. So just
Okay.
find a unique way of presenting it. The other thing to keep in mind, and the last thing I'm going to really touch on today, is we've talked about it before, and this ties in. I like to tie in my tooltips when I can. Remember, we talked about recon. Remember, we talked about planning. Well, planning comes down to a few things. Like if you're a sports photographer, learn the sport you're photographing. Because if you don't learn the sport, you won't know when to expect the action. And the action is what you're looking for, right? The money shot. So planning is the way to achieve that. Now, by planning, that could also mean I love to shoot wildlife. I love to shoot landscapes. I learn about the wildlife I like to shoot because I'd like to know what to expect. So I was running a photo walk a couple of years back, and a flock of geese went by, and everybody in my little photo walk turned around in disgust and sighed, "Oh, we just missed the shot." And I said, "You actually did miss the shot because these geese are going to circle. They are looking right now for a landing spot, and they're normally going to circle once to see if there is a spot, twice to see if there's any issues with the spot, and the third time is to come in for a landing." That's normal geese methodology, okay? Whatever you'd like to call it. So plan your shots, otherwise you'll miss the money shot, okay? You'll
Nice.
miss that shot, and you won't be able to get it again.
Okay.
And you won't, if you can't get it, you can't share the memory. So those are my tool tips for today. I hope you get something out of it.
Tom,
And mention down in the comments down below, or drop us something up on the Facebook group. And if you have a question for us or something you'd like us to cover, drop it up on the Facebook group, and we'll definitely get around to it for you.
hey Tom, I got a question for you on the geese and the circling.
Yeah.
Do they fly a left-hand traffic pattern or a right-hand traffic pattern?
Usually it's right to base. Okay.
Okay.
Usually it's right to base. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
The one
Thank
thing
you
you definitely
Thank you
want
for
to do
clarifying that.
is stay out from underneath the landing pattern. Okay. Very important tip, Herman. Stay from underneath that landing pattern. Okay.
One thing I learned, Tom, is don't be afraid to break the rules of photography.
Oh, well, exactly, Draymond. Learn them,
Right.
because half the fun is breaking the rules.
Right.
Where's the fun if you're ignorant and don't even know you were breaking the rules?
The views and opinions that are heard tonight are not necessarily the views and opinions of everyone on the panel and or in the chat.
They were talking about photography.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
clarify. Breaking
I
photography rules.
had to get it out there because
Yeah.
someone will
Yeah.
play it back.
It's copy strike.
Photography,
Right.
not
Look.
flying.
Thank
When
you,
I say
Herman.
break the rules, that's photography rules about having your subject
Johnny Mac,
centered.
thank you so
and
much
all
for
of
the
this and
super
that.
chat, man.
Remember,
Very much
it's copy
appreciated.
strike man reading us the riot act. Okay, just remember that, Draymond. Okay.
Yeah.
Talking about photography, not flying.
Right.
Yes, I do know, but for people that come into the stream late, they're like, break the rules.
Yeah,
Did
you're
he
right.
say-
Right.
You have to clarify
Thanks, Michael
these
Blade.
nowadays.
Thanks, Angie.
Right.
You know,
get
you
After a
definitely have
2 hour
to
sh-
What's up,
clarify
Ray?
After a 2 hour show, that's the only 5-second clip they remember.
that. Right. Exactly my point. Exactly
Yeah.
my point. You just cover all ends that way.
Right. Yeah.
I'm glad you came on here, man, because now you're officially one of those guys. I mean, you were to begin with.
Those
long time.
guys. Do I have it now?
See,
Yeah.
one thing unfortunately, Draymond, one thing is we stopped the alcohol to some degree on the show because we could never get those guys ever to line up properly.
We save it for the holidays now.
Yeah.
Well, when I started watching you guys, it's almost been 2 years now. I've been watching you guys every Sunday.
Get out of here. Are
Every
you
Sunday.
serious?
And that was
We
and
appreciate
back
that,
then.
man.
That was the running joke about Lawrence falling off his chair doing one of the live streams, drinking.
So you're betting that I slide out the chair one day, huh? See
And
what
it used
goes
to be-
on behind. See what goes on behind.
Draymond,
behind
don't
the-
worry. Me and Herman
Hey.
are running the over under.
Hey,
It's
and
okay.
I remember the running, thing was,
Listen.
get every 30 minutes we got to hit a shot. Got to hit a shot. We got to get Morris to hit a
Oh,
shot.
you
every 30
remember that,
minutes.
huh?
Oh yeah, I remember those days. See,
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see,
Shot in the
I
drop. We
just
do
want to
that
let
for,
you
for
know,
birthdays and holidays.
yeah,
Raymond,
yeah.
I just want to let you know I had a dead man switch attached to the mouse. So if I
Yeah.
let go of the mouse, it switches control over to Herman.
So
It
let's let you know.
doesn't call
I have
911.
been a fan for quite a while. I've been a fan for quite a while.
That's good to hear,
Thank you.
man.
I
Good to
keep
hear.
That
up on the
is.
tabs of all the secrets.
That is, and I think I've actually watched you get over your camera shyness. I mean, you never had like you weren't exactly shy, but you could see that you were like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do this. I'm gonna get in front of the camera. And now look how comfortable you are.
Well, that's why I think is like everybody who does YouTube or whatever, and like myself, I had to find a niche where I felt comfortable. And I'm not one to do a live stream every week like you guys do, but I figure since what I do exposes me to a lot of things out there flying, as far as no-fly zones and different airspace and different tips of handling, because I fly so often. That I figure if I can pass along some of the experiences I've had and some of the reminders, like I say, everybody knows you
Right.
should do maintenance on your drone, but sometimes we get, and that's what training is all about. You continue to train so you don't forget the basics, and you make an mistake and say,
You know
oh, I
what?
forgot to do
You
this.
know what?
Oh, I forgot to do that.
Raymond, that's so true because people are always talking about Lawrence. You're always practicing FPV, practicing FPV. Well, all of that practice has paid off because I've gone from flying 8 to 10 feet above the ground to 3 feet above water.
Right.
And it's all about staying consistent, just like doing this live stream. I had no idea you've been watching us for 2 years, man.
Yeah. I've been watching.
And I
started
really
watching you guys
appreciate
around
that.
late 2019. I started watching you guys around the summer of 2019.
Damn, Herman, we getting old.
Yeah.
I'm getting better.
Yeah, like fine wine, right? The
Yeah,
older
yeah.
you get.
Oh no, wine actually will get sour eventually.
Well,
I'm like
that's
I'm like
true.
a
If you
I'm like
expose
a
it to
nice
light.
I'm like a nice cognac that's sitting in
Yeah.
that barrel.
Okay, I'll settle
What
for
you got
that.
there?
What you got,
Another
Tom?
one?
You got the FPV. Is that a new one?
It's an FPV
Yes.
drone. So there's a story behind it.
You got another one?
Okay.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Newport,
Oh,
Rhode
get
Island.
out of here. You went down in Newport?
Boat landing. I installed
That's
my
right,
4
you guys
props.
did go out on a boat.
Okay.
No, this was at a boat landing. We pulled into early Sunday morning.
Mhm.
So we were the only ones there, and I set up the FPV.
Hey,
All the
Louis,
props, spun her up, put her up for a second, put it back down. Got my heads, got my goggles situated. Draymond, I'm flying a lot with the motion controller. So I just, throw up real quick just to get all the communication established.
Yeah.
So then she takes off. She goes about 20 feet. And all of a sudden, I lost 1 prop. She doesn't fly very well with 3. I was fortunate because
okay.
it crashed right at the water line. So I was able to grab
You
her.
were able to recover it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So-
now here's a question. Here's an FPV question. Now, when that happens, we usually say that the prop exploded. Was the prop sheared off down to the hub?
No,
And that's
no,
very important.
what-
What caused that
No,
prop to?
the nip on the little flanges on the
Mhm.
prop were gone. So it got loose and it sheared itself off.
Oh, wow.
So then she pile drive herself into the concrete boat landing. So luckily, I was traveling all weekend with the wife, Eddie Nunez and Jamaris.
Hey,
Nunez.
Rob from Australia.
so I was fortunate enough. Eddie turned around and said, "Hey, go ahead and pair with my FPV. You can fly my FPV." So luckily, I was able to salvage some footage and all. So my intent was to send it in. I do have DJI Care refresh, but I sent it in for a standard repair to see which was going to be cheaper.
Chris Wedgeworth says, so you were able to
So you got
recover
another
one
one.
the drone.
Yeah, I did recover the
Yes.
drone. So yeah.
I get a lot of calls for that too. People call me, "Do you recover drone?" I said, "No, I don't save drones."
No, the drone recovery. See, there's another sideline right there.
There
You
go.
get yourself a clothes hanger, you got a business.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. I got a guy in my office. always
Yeah,
Tom
right?
Ray
about
Kelly
it.
said. Tom Ray Kelly says that's a call. That's called the Luck of the Irish.
Now, my
Yeah,
question-
well, you know what? I didn't have Mark with me to go running into the water. So Ray knows what that's all about. But
Yeah, Mark Fisher.
I figured, Eddie said, "Hey, you know what? Just send it in for repair. See, maybe it's a lot cheaper than $259
And the
for
Care
the first
refresh,
DJI Care refresh." But the price came back at about $197. So I
Okay, that's not bad.
opted for to pay the $259 instead to get a brand new one.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
smart move. Smart.
But it's worth when you send, and I got to tell you, 7-day return. I from the day I shipped it out, okay, to the day I got it back was only 7 days, and I was quite amazed at that. I did not
Okay.
expect it.
I just
to be
wanted to
that
say real
quick.
quick good morning
So,
to Rob and Sue over in Australia. Watching
Maybe
a
they
live
didn't
stream.
hear
Greg
that
in
the
bed
Ortel
about drinking coffee.
CEO resigned, so they were trying to get competitive.
Now my
DJI.
question, Tom, the incident that caused the shearing is that
Herman Rob says,
something
"What's
that
up?"
we prevented, or is this just something part of use?
Well, can you repeat that,
I
Draymond?
was asking Tom, I said, the part, when he said the
I have no
propeller sheared
audio.
itself off, was that part of this normal wear and tear or something that could have been preventable? Am I breaking up?
No, you're fine. I don't know if
Okay.
Tom can hear you.
Okay, I know he had his thing.
I think Tom has lost audio. He put in his headset, so I see him put in. Before.
I just got my
Tom,
audio back. Sorry.
Okay, can you repeat?
I was asking, you said about how the propeller sheared itself off, and I was asking that, was that something could be part of normal wear and tear on the FPV, or that's something that just by happened?
No, I think the problem was between the seat and the keyboard, Draymond. Okay. I take full responsibility on that one. Even though I thought I checked and double checked, I have a tendency of being, these guys can tell you, meticulous when it comes to my pre-check.
Right.
But hey,
No, these are things I look forward to. Like I say, I'm sure you're not the only person this has happened to. We just have not heard about it.
right.
And I'm not so saying, if it's something that is a manufacturer defect, well, let's get it out there. If it's something part of a pre-flight check, make sure people look for this and go for that's what my tips are about. It's just
I
trying to
think what
information.
actually happened here, in my haste to catch that, golden hour,
Yeah.
that I had my color coding down. I had, prop installs done correctly on 3 out of 4.
Right.
I think what happened was when it's almost like cross-threading a screw, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think what might have happened was one of the flanges hung up on something and I wasn't fully seated. And what was funny was I lifted about 3 feet. Okay. Just made some adjustments,
Right.
put it back down, put the goggles on, situated myself, and then I'm going to zoom up and take off and get that shot coming across
So
the
you
pier.
didn't notice any vibration?
No vibration at that
time.
point. No. In fact,
Okay.
I was a
Fine.
good 15 feet away before all of a sudden beep, 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 beep. And I started getting, it's much like being on a motorcycle and know you're gonna taste some asphalt. Okay. You get that wiggle in that rear end. She's going away from you. And then I
Okay.
saw I saw pavement right away in the goggles. So and luckily, like I said, and thank you, Ray, luck of the Irish. Yeah, it came through. It was right at the water line. So, I didn't need Rhode Island meetup group to head honcho there to run into the water and save the
Okay.
drone for me. Okay. Although I was looking at Eddie Nunez to do that, but you know, I wasn't sure whether he was going to step up or not. So.
Eddie was looking at you like, what?
Eddie would have said, not in these shoes.
Yeah, no. These sneaks are brand new, bro.
Yeah, right, dude. The laces are brand new. Stuff like that is ingrained in me because I'm always checking prop screws. The Louis P. Floyd,
Yeah,
he says prop screws, motors, wires, and that's true. He's an FPV pilot.
Absolutely.
I found out the hard way with FPV. You have every flight, you may take off and the screws are tight, and for some reason, some way, a screw will come loose. And I found out the hard way because the mount that actually holds my camera in, one of them were loose, and I didn't tighten or check anything before flying. And when I came home, I was like, why is the footage so shaky? I didn't check it again. I took the bird out again, and then the screw literally came out and the camera was flopping in the air. And when I brought it back down to land, I could see one side was missing a crossbar, and you have to do that. You have to do maintenance on your props and on camera drones. You feel along the edge of the prop to feel any imperfections. Those are things that you have to check for. You may not see it, but it may slice a bug or whatever. It may slice something in the air that you can't see.
And just like with FPV people, you guys build your stuff and your soldering and everything else. And I tell people like myself who have older drones still, it's hard to find replacement parts, hard to find original batteries. So now you're stuck with the aftermarket and you don't know what the tolerances are on their stuff. So now you're putting on props that could be out of balance, that causes you to get the jello footage, or you can get a battery that up to par, and all of a sudden you go up and all of a sudden it's coming down because you have an aftermarket battery that does not meet the specs. So there's always a lot of things you got to check for because, like I said, you can't find a DJI original battery for Phantom 3 Pro, or now you can't find it for a Mavic Pro. You can't buy them. You can't buy it from B&H, Adorama, or anybody else. They're not selling this stuff anymore. You know? So now you got to be extra careful on your pre-flight checklist when you're using aftermarket equipment to keep your bird in the air.
Yep.
Absolutely. I agree totally. I definitely
smart about it. Yeah.
Answering Tony. We have about 8 minutes left to the stream. Anything you guys want to say or mention while we are still live?
Well, remember in the aviation community, okay?
They say, what's it, Tom?
Gremlins in the aviation community are a known element, okay?
This is true.
Go back and watch Bugs Bunny, okay?
Watch the episode with the Twilight Zone with William Shatner.
Twilight Zone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a classic of Gremlins.
Exactly. So, you know, you got to make sure that you rule out everything else before you can blame the Gremlins, okay?
Oh, Herman, Matt just asked. He says, Herm, you got that DSLR camera in Ronin. When are you going to show some pictures?
You got a mirrorless, right? What? No, you got it's a DSLR you got?
Oh, I missed it.
I don't know what the G5
Herman,
is. You guys are talking Chinese to me.
What happened?
You guys are talking Chinese with those cameras.
I was just noticing that Herman did get a new box of the stack behind over his shoulder. I almost missed that. I'm glad you brought it up, Lauren.
DJI showroom.
Yeah.
It's a DJI showroom.
Him and Mikey, like he's turned into a reseller, his little setup. He's got boxes and stuff all over the place.
They're all gonna come tumbling down one day.
Yeah.
All my stuff I sell comes with the original boxes, right?
Yeah.
You know
what? I tell you, gentlemen, I appreciate you having me on. And I say I've been a fan of you guys for over 2 years now. And you guys have inspired me,
man.
I appreciate having you, man. We like having you on there. Come on here and talk about what it is that you do. But I'm waiting for you to come on back and tell us about how you're training pilots all over the city or in the state of California
That would be nice.
And you're the one that set the standard for all of the rules and regulations out there for it.
Well,
Right.
I tell a lot of people, I don't forget about my drone community. And like I say, if I'm ever in a position to where I need to recruit people as instructors or whatever, don't be surprised if I reach out.
Matt, it's a G5, right, Herman? That's what you have? He was
Man,
asking what camera do you have?
G5.
This is the G5.
He's got a
Matt.
check.
Big Matt. No. He's pulling out the
You gotta bring us the box.
S5. I'm sorry, S5.
S5.
Yeah.
Yo, listen to me. I don't know nothing
Canon's
about
a
cameras.
G5.
It's letter
Canon's
X5.
G5.
I don't know.
Yeah. So Draymond, I'll be out in your neck of the woods soon. Okay.
Thank you, Angie.
And that's what I'm talking about. I know you guys.
We definitely gotta,
So,
Well, 2 hours. See the difference that these guys don't realize is 2 hours out there is a decent
Nothing.
drive. Okay,
yeah,
it's nothing.
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 Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
2 hours out of
that's,
San Diego, 2 hours out of Vegas.
Yeah. Well, look, just to go from one borough to another in New York City is a 2 hour drive. So
Not
okay.
that bad, Tom.
And that's only what, 15
Oh,
blocks?
I'm sorry, Herman. That's right. It's never the drive; it's the parking. Okay.
That's the problem.
I'll tell Lawrence and Herman this. The last time I was in New York City was probably 1967 on my way to Canada. And I learned one game. It's the little bottle cap game that used to thump the ball to the next number.
Scully.
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 Skelly. I know how to play Skelly, man. We used to
Yeah.
weigh out our tops down with pennies.
Yeah.
And we used
Yep.
to melt crayons to get the
And
fancy
crayon
color
wax.
designs.
There you
Yes,
go.
the crayons for the
So-
color and design, and put
That-
2 to
That was
3
my
pennies in.
experience.
Well,
That was my experience of visiting New York in 1967.
Dude,
before my
Skelly was the
dad got-
best game ever. If you played with us, there was something where if you got a pot, which was straight in the box, and someone
Mhm.
was in the area, you could put your top against them. Now, what we did, maybe it was a little destructive,
You
but
talking
what we
about crack
did,
top?
you put your top next to them, you're supposed to blast them, right? But we added something to the game called Blast You. And we'd put our top next to you and kick the shit out of your top, dude. Halfway
well, you
across the
needed a new
park.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, either your top came apart or it rolled. You know those bottle caps rolled for days.
mhm.
Well, that was the problem when we first got. I think it was in the
We used to
mid
kick you to the
'60s.
entrance of the park. There was always one kid outside the park trying to pluck himself back in.
Yeah. And you could draw that. I could still draw that board in my sleep, bro.
I could too. From
Okay.
from start to 1 to the 2, everything. Yeah, and then you had to go around 13, go back in, and then you could go wherever you want. And yeah, I remember that game quite well.
Yeah, see,
that's
we
my
played
New-
stuff
that's my
back
New
in the
York
days.
experience.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a hell of an experience, though.
Yeah. We were there. for
Stickball
about
is the
2
only
weeks.
one you missed then.
Yeah, well, didn't have enough kids to play. We were just there transitioning from we left. We were leaving from Michigan. Yeah, we left from Michigan, going to Canada. My dad was stationed up in Goose Bay, up in Canada, and we stopped in New York at some friends we knew
On the
back then
trip
in
up,
'67. Trip up and stuff. So that's what
Yeah.
I learned in 2 short weeks I was in as a little kid back then.
Yeah, we used sewer caps. We
You see
used
what
sewer
Stevie put?
manhole covers as playing field limiters, right?
You see what he put, right? You see what Stevie put? He says, see, that's why we don't play that game with people from Far Rockaway.
Sounded like cheating
Yeah.
to me, Stevie, but you know.
No, dude. It was so much fun. Then we started using the jelly jar tops.
So that's like Mega Scully.
No
Dude,
kid,
we
that's
had a
huge.
collection of they
No,
worked.
it's that
because-
shuffleboard, man.
So what about crack pipe, crack top? Do you remember crack top? We used to play with the tops. You would wind
The
up
wood
and,
tops,
and
yes,
spin.
with the string, yes.
And
We used
then
to
what
split-
we
used
would
to
do
sharpen
is
them. So when you hit
we'd
someone's
have-
top, it would take a piece of wood out of it.
we'd
I
have
remember
like
those.
14 kids around this circle, and you'd have to throw your top down, and whoever top stopped spinning first,
Right, you
Was
got
that
put in the
first
middle,
one
and
in the
everyone
middle.
took shots at your top.
and
I
then you
remember
gunned
that.
for them. Then you gunned for them. Okay.
Listen, we got to get out of here, guys. It's 6:30. It's that time. Draymond I'm sure needs to get back to his life as well as we all do. Draymond, thanks for coming onto the stream, first of all.
Oh, thank you for the invite. I
And
appreciate
thank
Thank
you
you
also
coming
for
in.
watching our live stream for 2 years. That makes me feel a little old on the internet here, but it's actually kind of good.
Well, like
It's
I
actually
said,
good. That lets us know we're doing something right if we're still here for 2
drones are the
years.
fastest growing technology probably the last. And you think a
course.
5-year-old drone is out of production, that's beyond anything we've ever had in our lifetime. Those,
Mhm.
you know, it's just the drone technology is just going so fast and stuff. So I appreciate
Hey,
everything you
Birdman,
guys
what's
do.
up? Anyway, listen, we're gonna do this drop, and the way we do it, Draymond, is we go Sunday nights with those guys. Is sponsored by, and you go 1,000 in your head. You go those guys. Okay,
Got it.
so we're gonna do this. So I'm gonna end the stream. Tech support over my shoulders is yelling stuff in my ear. But Sunday nights with those guys is sponsored by
Those guys.
We appreciate you all for coming by. Don't forget to check out Herman's live stream Wednesday nights, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys got anything to say before I end the stream?
Hit that thumbs up button, guys.
Yes, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Good night, everyone. I will see you again on Wednesday.
Thanks again, Draymond.
Hey, no problem.
Yes, thank you,
Appreciate it.
man.
Damon, thank you. Thank you for coming in, man. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it.
All right, stream is ended, and that's it. Thanks, man.